Apparently, nearly 1 in 5 Americans think that interracial marriage is morally corrupt. Now, according to a YouGov poll that asked Americans about things that they thought were acceptable and unacceptable, almost 20% of Americans say that interracial marriage is unacceptable. Now, 17% of respondents said that it was morally wrong, while 83% said it was morally acceptable. Now, there is a party divide there. 28% of Republicans and just 12% of Democrats replying that interracial marriage was morally wrong. Now, there wasn't much of a difference among respondents by race, which is interesting, but 17% of white respondents felt interracial marriage was morally wrong, compared with 18% of black respondents and 15% of Hispanic respondents. Now, a report last year from Pew Research Center found that by 2015, 1 in 6 newlyweds were married to someone of a different race, compared to just 3% in 1967, the year of Loving versus Virginia. Now, 29% of Asian newlyweds were intermarried, compared with 27% of Hispanic newlyweds, 18% of black newlyweds, and 11% of white newlyweds. Now, about half of Democrats and independents who lean Democratic said they felt the increasing number of interracial marriages was good for society, and just 28% of Republicans and right-leaning independents said the same.
Lots of amazing stats in there.
Yeah.
So first of all, almost 1/5 of the country saying that interracial marriage is morally wrong is a devastating number.
Yeah.
Way higher than I would have thought. Look, I had seen those results in the Republican primaries in 2012 in Alabama and Mississippi, where 21 and 29% of Republican voters thought that interracial marriage should be illegal. So I know that idea exists. I just didn't know it was this large. And then, is it surprising that more Republicans think that? Of course not. So 28 to 12, right? But then you look at 12% of Democrats who think that it's morally wrong. And I'm blown away by that. And then when they showed the breakdown, I was like, oh, right, that's an interesting point. Not only whites, but blacks and Latinos. Some of them think it's morally wrong. And so I'm disheartened by that as well. And so, look, easy for me to say I'm in an interracial marriage, and I've been in nonstop interracial relationships, and I grew up in that world. I grew up in a very multiracial world in New Jersey, and so I'm blown away by the idea that people thinking if it's a different race, you shouldn't be in a relationship with them. I literally can't comprehend it. Why? What effing difference does it make?
You're also an immoral atheist, so that's the reason why you guys dated
right.
outside of your race. No, it's one of those things. I think that the small parts of the other races that believe that are also some of the ones that will think, oh, well, I don't want necessarily my whatever family member to marry someone of another race that they've always felt has oppressed them. Sometimes that's the thing with the minorities. Like, well, you don't want to end up with that situation because maybe it's bad for you, or maybe you may get this kind of experience, which are also wrong. Do what you want, fall in love with who you fall in love with, and then be happy. But that may be one of the reasons. I'm completely guessing.
Yeah, what's interesting though is the thing that's really shifting the mindset about interracial relationships and marriages is actually online dating apps. So there was a 2017 study by Cornell University that showed that dating apps like Tinder increase interracial marriage rates as they expose users to people outside their traditional social circles. So that's one positive definitely from dating apps. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, Cenk. Like, I'm in an interracial relationship now, and I have been, throughout my life, and so it doesn't make sense to me, right? It's illogical, but I understand, like, if you are in one social circle and not seeing beyond that, how you might be confused, right? Like, you just might be a little confused.
Yeah, look, so I get that there's a group of folks who might think along the lines of what JR postulated there. And so it's not like we haven't heard, for example, African American women saying black guys shouldn't get married to white women. Okay, it's out there. They do say that. Some folks do say that. Again, I don't agree with that. But overall, is it more of a conservative thing? Yes. I mean, look, Loving versus Virginia was only about 50 years ago. Until just 50 years ago, black and white people were not allowed to get married to one another in some of our states. So does that culture still remain? It remains so much so that only 28% of Republicans and right-leaning independents thought that interracial marriage was even a good thing. Like only 28%.
Making progress.
We're making progress, I guess, but very, very slowly. What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast. You could watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.